I want to dedicate this episode to my father-in-law, Steve Vogt, who passed away unexpectedly, very suddenly, this past week. And he was a gentle, kind, quiet man. Yet, he was a leader within his family. And I want to talk about that today. Welcome to episode 33 of the What If It Works podcast. If you would have asked me to describe a leader 20 years ago, I would have told you they were loud and in control and helped everyone get where they were going in a way that exuded presence and maybe even power. And if I look back at my early years in education, that's how I wanted to show up. I wanted to show everyone I was the leader through my voice and through my loud actions. However, as we all grow up and mature, I think we realize that leadership is not about you. Leadership is about the people that you serve. It is about creating systems for people to thrive. It is about confidence and bringing out value in others. And that was something I had to learn on my own. And that's what all people have to learn. However, I got to a point where I recognized that I wanted to not just be the leader, but build other leaders. And I think later in my teaching career, you could see that in my classroom, that I was wanting to help empower and form little leaders within my classes so that they could become leaders in their lives out beyond school or even in sports and things like that. When we realized that my father-in-law was not going to make it this week, I started thinking about how his entire family rushed to be by his side. And there's a beautiful moment where everyone is around Steve toward the end. And if you would have asked me when I met Steve, 17 years ago, was he a leader? I probably would have told you no. He was a very quiet man, a humble man. He kept to himself. And I didn't see his leadership in the beginning. However, Steve is the man who meets you at the door, holds the door open, goes out to your car in the snowstorm to go get your bags. We always have to travel to my in-laws. They live 3 hours away. And so we're always bringing in, lots and lots of stuff with the kids, or even bringing in the kids. And he would meet us right there at the door, always, 100% of the time, and then offer to carry everything in, go get things for you and whatnot. Then when we got in, he would check if we needed anything. He was always serving others quietly, behind the scenes. He was not boisterous. He was not loud. He was not commanding. He was quiet. But yet, he kept the family together. He also was meticulous about his yard and his garden, and he put hours and hours and hours into his garden and the production of the fruits and vegetables that were going to come out of it. He did work without complaint. He was a doer. And yet, if others were around witnessing this, You were witnessing him model hard work. And that is another thing leaders do so well. They model what they want other people to do for them, or they model what they want other people to do for others. And he was so good at doing the work, being there, and leading in his own specific way. This week I've been reflecting on that. Can you lead quietly? And the answer is absolutely yes. There's actually a few books about quiet leadership and how you can continue to transform others through your interactions and your words. Now, Steve was not a man of many words. Like I said, he kind of kept to himself. However, you could always find a child crawling up onto his lap. He was a safe space for so many of the grandkids. He was comfortable and warm and always available for them to make their way up onto Grandpa's lap, sometimes with a book, sometimes with an object to show him, and other times with their blankets to curl up and fall asleep. And I think that is just a beautiful example of not needing to be loudly telling people who you are and what you are, but instead just being authentically you, and people finding safety and comfort in that. When I looked up the definition of quiet leadership, because as you all know, if you know me, you know I am not quiet, and that is not something that I am able to take on. However, it says quiet leadership is a style of leadership that is characterized by humility, introspection, and a focus on the greater good. Quiet leaders are often introverted and soft-spoken, but they have a deep sense of purpose and a clear vision of their organization. So this episode is for those of you that feel you are more introverted, you are more soft-spoken, you don't need the center of attention to lead. And maybe you're feeling that you can't lead because you're not loud and boisterous and commanding. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way that you can step into leadership using the skills you have, using that humility and that introspection and that focus on other people. I love that this says a deep sense of purpose. You, as a quiet leader, know what you want to do and where you want to go. But maybe you've been looking for how to lead others without using a loud voice and a commanding presence. Start with purpose. Start with vision. We know that quiet leaders are thinking through what they could do best. We know that quiet leaders are constantly reflecting. And so use those skills that we know you excel in to develop a clear vision for us. As you know, sometimes the loud leaders are simply that. They are just saying what they think needs to be said. And they are just, shouting from the rooftops that they're the ones in charge. Yet they might be the ones that aren't stopping and reflecting, looking for vision. And so as the quiet leader, you bring that strength to the table, to the team. So I really want to empower you to use that introspection that you are skilled at and find a way to raise your confidence, to speak up in the moments that you need to provide that clear vision and give that deep sense of purpose to the team so that they can be confident in the actions to take. I know I've shared a little bit on here about my husband being very introverted, just like his dad. And so I wanted to bring a little bit to the podcast today about introverts as leaders. Introverts are often very good listeners. They are active listeners that want to understand a situation and understand other people's points of view. When you have an introvert in leadership who are good listeners, they're going to be able to take the information that other people are providing and find solutions. They are going to be able to respond calmly, and they are going to be able to build stronger relationships because they understand the needs of their people, because they listen to those needs. Naturally, introverts are typically reflective, meaning that they are a little more self-aware and naturally introspective in their thinking. They take time to reflect on their actions, and they take time reflecting on the decisions that have been made. And with that self-reflection, they can come forward more confidently because they've already worked things out in their heads. Personally, I am a verbal processor, and as you know, very extroverted. And so I need to talk through things with other people. Where that can be a problem is other people might be giving me information that I necessarily don't agree with, or they may move the conversation along and not give me the same amount of time that I need to process the new information that is coming in. And so introverts can do this on their own and alone, where extroverts tend to use more people, which again can distract them from their line of thinking. As mentioned before, introverts tend to remain calm under pressure. They are less reactive than extroverted leaders. When they can stay calm and composed in high-stress situations, this is where quiet leadership can be so effective and important. And in most cases, introverts tend to develop deeper connections than extroverts. They are highly attuned to other people, and they are more empathetic and compassionate. This allows them to lead with empathy and making sure that everyone's voices are heard and that the information they took in from everyone is clearly communicated back to the group. Introverts can listen and speak to other people in a way that extroverts maybe struggle with. Now, we all know that both introverts and extroverts have a place in leadership. It just may look and feel differently. So if you are an introvert, if you are thinking to yourself, I can't lead, I hope this episode showed you that what if it works? What if you use your strengths as an introvert to lead other people and lead them well with a clear sense of vision and a deep sense of purpose? I know there is a place for you in leadership. There is a place for all of us, but we have to step into that place of leadership. We have to act confidently and move forward. And that is how we create change, and that is how we positively shift our workplace culture. Thank you for your patience and your grace this week as we navigate this family situation. We will be back to regularly scheduled Tuesday podcast episodes next week. And let me remind you to please reach out to family, reach out to friends. Remind people often that they are loved, they are valuable, in your life. Life is short. We never know what's going to happen. So make sure you're taking the opportunities that you have to fuel other people up and remind them what they mean to you. Grateful for you all, and grateful for the incredible family and friend group that I have, that have supported me through this week and supported my family